Good day, sir. These are the materials we are going to use in making the artificial blood.
Paintbrush,
The medicine dropper,
balloons,
balloon,
calculator,
the paintbrush,
paper,
measuring tape,
wrappers,
protractor,
scissor,
the food coloring,
yarn,
yarn,
protector,
stir,
push pins,
the scissors,
spoon, and
marker, coffee, the scientific calculator, the ruler, baker, tissue, the red color dye, and lastly, the This is our final blood sample.
In droplets, we observe the spatters of droplets pattern. IT has parent drop, satellite spatters, and spines. The surface is rough, and IT is easily to absorb. The color of blood is dark red. In trail, we observe the spatters of trail pattern. IT looks like the same of droplets. IT has parent drop, satellite spatters, and spines in this blood stains pattern. I identify the point of origin and the direction of tail. The surface is rough and the color of blood stains is dark red. In pool, we observe the blood stain in pool pattern. It forms like a hand dew to the surface of the area. The surface is soft. Some blood has accumulated on the lower surface, and the color of the blood is too dark. In low velocity, I observed that there's a lot of blood-stained spatters. Some spatters has a tail and spines. By identifying the direction of the tail, IT is easily to find the point of origin. The surface is soft and the color of blood is red. There's a lot of dots and needle form in the area. In high velocity, I observed that the spatters are bigger and the shape is oval. And some tail was too sharp, unlike the low velocity. In high velocity, IT has a lot of needle form of blood stains. The surface was soft and the color of blood is red. By identifying the direction of tail, IT is easily to find the point of origin where the blood came from. In swipe, I observed that the footprints is so clear. It shown the pattern of shoes in this pattern. IT is easily to find the direction and its point of origin, and the surface is rough. Swipes occur when blood moves from a moving source to an unstained surface. In wipe, I observed that she wiped his shoes in the rough surface, and the pattern of her shoes is still there. Wipes occur when an unstained object moves through bloody surface or an existing blood stains. As I observed the blood stains, apparent drop striking a smooth surface at a 90 angle will result in an almost circular strain. There is little elongation, and the spines and satellite spatters are fairly evenly distributed around the outside of the drop. Below 75, spines begin to become more prominent on the side of spatter opposite the angle of impact. In rough surface, I observed when we dropped the blood. In 90 on the rough surface, IT was easily absorbed by the floor. The spines were not clear, but there were many satellite spatters. The blood stains was not clear. IT looks like pale. In soft surface, I observed when we dropped the blood in 90. IT does not dry immediately because IT cannot be absorbed by the floor. IT result in an almost circular strain. The color of blood is dark, and the blood just accumulates, and then there are small spines. In clothing, I observed when we dropped the blood in 90. The spatter stayed, but later on it was absorbed by the cloth and spread. Then IT has a satellite. The spatter was thicker unlike the thicker, and darker unlike the blood, who spread on the cloth. IT looked pale, and the outer part of the blood stains is black. Now it's time to determine the width of the stain. Using a metric ruler, we determine that the width of the stain at its widest point is 2.1 centimeters L, and the length of the stain is 2.0 centimeters. With this information, we can determine the angle of impact using the formula that states the sine of the angle equals the width divided by the length. We can calculate the angle by using either a scientific calculator or trigonometric table. Next, we will use a scientific calculator to determine the angle of impact. The formula, as previously mentioned, is the sine of the angle equals the width divided by the length. The calculator must have the sine and inverse functions. After you turn on the calculator, enter the width of 2.0 centimeters and then divide that by 2.1 centimeters the length. This will be 0.9 centimeters, which is the sine of the angle. Push the shift button followed by the sine button and then 0.5, which will then give you the angle of impact 64. Keep in mind that you never include the satellite caliper spine that may be present in the stain, including that in. The measurement would alter the overall length to width ratio and change the calculated impact angle. You need to envision a perfect ellipse superheat on the stain. The device used for measuring stains depends on the analysts. Some analysts prefer a loop with a built-in scale, while others use calipers or metric rulers. Now it's time to determine the width of the stain. Using a metric ruler, we determine that the width of the stain at its widest point is 1.7 centimeters, and the length of the stain is 3.0 centimeters. With this information, we can determine the angle of impact using the formula that states the sine of the angle equals the width divided by the length. We can calculate the angle by using either a scientific calculator or trigonometric table. Next, we will use a scientific calculator to determine the angle of impact. The formula, as previously mentioned, is the sine of the angle equals the width divided by the length. The calculator must have the sine and inverse functions. After you turn on the calculator, enter the width of 1.7 centimeters and then divide that by 3.0 centimeters the length. This will be 0.5 centimeters, which is the sine of the angle. Push the shift button followed by the sine button and then 0.5, which will then give you the angle of impact 30. It is that simple, but you must use scientific calculator with the listed above to make it this easy. Same procedures in solving all spatters.